that we are adopting a bit of the Christmas story format, where I am the ghost of Nerve past. I'm going to speak a bit about how Nerve was developed and how we reached its current version. Homa is going to briefly talk about what is being done in the present to move us into the next iteration of the tool. And Luciano will take over and show us Nerve, the future Nerve. So without further ado, Nerve started very much like any other DH endeavor with wouldn't it be nice, followed by how do we find the resources. In 2014 and 2015, we were manually enhancing via XML tagging a collection of essays that came out of one of the Quirk conferences. And we started thinking that it would be really nice if we could automate most of the tedious work of tagging and linking using a tool that would also provide a way for a human user to vet any machine-generated suggestions. So between 2015 and 2018, I believe, we applied and received multiple SharkNet dedicated programming resources awards, which basically consisted on development time from a dedicated developer to work towards developing the first instance of Nerve. That first instance was connecting the Stanford NER to a very basic JavaScript front end via WebSockets. It was, I don't think I have, or I don't think we have any visual records of that first iteration. It was a very good start, but in the same time, it was plagued by the absence of a continuous support workflow, because those awards, those work times allocated were time constrained, and we couldn't implement continuous reliable workflow for development, debugging, and enhancement. So in 2018, we had a revelation that we would probably be able to make more progress by basically connecting the backend to what we had already established in terms of our primary XML editing interface, and that is the QuirkWriter tool, which is a web-based XML and RDF annotation. The link I used here to connect to it is publicly available. If you have a GitHub account, feel free to give it a try. It works with the major TI customizations. So this new instance of Nerve is basically using a fully integrated into QuirkWriter front end. It's using RESTful APIs to call back the named entity recognition service. QuirkWriter sends the document as an XML document along with some contextual information about the tags to use to map different types of entities. Nerve returns the annotated XML, and then the QuirkWriter interface provides a way to vet those suggestions. So without too much introduction, let me just start the demo. So I'm going to upload an existing document. I'm starting with a very simple one. It's a poem. And once, this is the basic, this is the main QuirkWriter interface. It has an editing area where text can be edited. And it has a number of panels, markup that displays the TI structure, entities where any annotations linked open data annotations are listed. So for example, this document has this citation recorded as a linked open data annotation. And then there is the NERV panel, which at this point in time only supports entity recognition. So I'm going to run NERV for this document. It's a very brief document, so you can, as you can see, it's quite easy to get the results. The results returned are coded by color and represented by icons. So it returned correctly, it identified correctly the publishing house as an organization. I have the option to accept it. If I accept it without linking it to an entity, the XML tagging will be added, but because there is no pointing outwards to an authority, there is no linked open data annotation being created. So I'm just going to do that for demonstration's sake with Random House. And then you also have the option to, for example, merge entities. If an entity is mentioned multiple times within the same text, you have the option to either accept all of them. If a string of text is identical, NERV itself recognizes that, and you can bulk accept them. That's adding the tag. But if you want to actually link them, you have the option to manually merge them. Or if, let's say, they are referred to in different ways in the document, you can merge entities. As soon as I selected one entity, it's only showing, it's filtering down to entities of the same type. So I'm merging all the two references to Maya Angelou. I can use different lookups. I can select which ones to show, which one to skip. Let's say I want to skip this one, and this one, and this one, as well as geonames in this case, because I'm tagging persons. So as you can see, I get all the results. I may choose this one, the Wikidata one, to link, merge. The merged entities appear at the bottom, and then you have the option to navigate between the different iterations. If you made a mistake, you can unmerge, you can edit if you made a mistake in linking or identifying the entity, and you can accept them. You can also, let's say all the identifications are correct, you can also bulk accept or bulk reject all of the entities. I'm going to hit done for now. And if I go back here, you'll see that the two instances of Maya Angelou are each created as separate linked open data annotations in the document. So this is very briefly what NERV can do now as it is integrated into WorkWriter. There are a couple of things that we are seeing as essential towards the next generation of the tool, and that is primarily expanding from entity recognition only to entity linking, as well as hopefully in the future relationship extraction. This is one of the things that Homa is going to build with within the Nessie backend that she talked about yesterday. So another thing that NERV is currently a bit weak on is the specificity of the humanities research areas and the specificity of various texts from different periods, different languages, multiple languages within the same text, etc., etc. So just to show you an example, I'm going to load another document. This one is in French, And if I run nerve here, it's a longer document, granted, but you'll see also that there are instances where the entity recognition fails because it doesn't recognize the different language. We really hope that the next iteration will be able to build in the ability to choose between, learning data sets, so that, let's say, if I am working on a Renaissance text, I can provide the system, I can specify that, and I could potentially have the system use that as the basis on which to build the current tagging. Also, there is the need to be able to implement linking that would use whitelists of entities, or rank or specify authorities that users are specifically interested in linking to. I think I'm just going to pass it on to Homa to speak a bit about what's being done in the backend.
Okay, so just very briefly, last year we started working on refactoring the Nerve backend to address some of the concerns that Mihaela just mentioned, and to make it easier to address them in the future. So this effort led to the application that we now know as NESI, which stands for Nerve Secure Scalable Infrastructure. So NESI expands the pipeline in the backend from just the Stanford-based NER to NER linking and annotation generation. It incorporates the open source Elucidate annotation server for managing the annotations that are generated by the backend and edited through Nerve's vetting interface. And the new backend can support more than just XML documents, and will allow us to add specializations for entity recognition and linking in the future. So on to Luciano.
So Homa is doing this excellent job revamping, improving the backend. We couldn't be behind, so we're proposing a new UI, a new user interaction for CorpWriter as well. So this is how we envision Nerve as a tool built in CorpWriter. We are developing a new UI. There's a lot to talk about on this new concept, but I will focus only on how Nerve is integrated into it. So basically, it's the same layout. You have the text editor in the center. You have side panels showing the structure, entities, image viewer, XML viewer, and a validator. So basically, I will show how the process that Mihaela just walked you through would work in this new UI, incorporating all the functionalities that Homa is developing in the backend. So let's say you open a new document and you have anything you want help to tag. You don't want to do this manually. It's a lot to do. We're using Nerve to do that. You click on Enhance the document. First of all, we are planning for different methods of enhancement. We already have scraping tags from your XML, if you already have it. Or you can use Nerve to run entity recognition, entity linking, and both together at the same time. To run Nerve, though, you need some pre-configurations, like which authorities you wanted to use to extract the entities. You should define this on your settings. You click on your profile on the top right portion of the screen. You have all your personal preferences of the editor alongside with the entities lookup sources. So we have built-in DBpedia, GeoNames, Getty, LGPN, BIAF, and Wikidata. And for those using the integrated version of Quark, we will have Quark as an option as well. So we can turn them on and off, and we'll be able to drag up and down to prioritize them. So the first result will be like the one that you care the most. These configurations will be saved on your browser. So next time you get into the editor, it will remember, but it's always here for you to change if needed. Back to Nerve. So once you have everything set up, you click in Enhance, and you submit the document to NERV. If it is a short document, the result's going to be like the process will be very quick. But assuming that you're trying to tag a book or a novel, it might take a while. Depends how many entities NERV will find out in your document. So we are still discussing what to do to not let the user hanging on it. One possible solution is to notify, send an email to the user after 2 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe 2 hours. But we don't want the user like stay here and just waiting, maybe like, oh, it's not working. We want to give a better response. Okay, so this one is, of course, it's pretty quick. It's just a simple letter. And when NERV is done, it will list the results on the side panel over here on the left. So let's say NERV found 5 different entity candidates in different categories. A person named John, a place named Ptarmigan, this book called the Bible, an organization called Boo, and another person, John Poe. As you can see, it's still using different colors to represent different categories, using icons as well, in a more like clean design. Depend on how many entities NERV will find out. You're gonna have like dozens and dozens of options for you here. So at the top, you could sort them out linearly, alphabetically, by type. You can filter by type. So if it is like, I just want that like places or person, you can expand and collapse all those cards. So one new feature that we are proposing here is that if NERV found like John, like 22 different instances of John in the text, it will group them together for you. You can see here there are 22 Johns, 20 Ptarmigans, 14 Bible, and you would use these arrows here to navigate through the instances of this entity in the document. I will show how this looks like in a bit, or at least like simulating how it will be. So this is the first part of NERV. This is the name entity recognition part. So the second part, actually the most important improvement, is how you vet an entity and create an annotation. Note though that these are just candidates, and you're working in a XML document. You can't do any change to it. So the whole interface is blocked out for you, all gray out, until you're done vetting the process. So let's say you want to close examine this place named Ptarmigan. You click on it, it expands as a card showing all the results NERV gets for you from the different authorities in order that you define. So DBpedia for me is the first, your name, and later, lastly, Wikidata. You can browse, you can take a look on the description if available. If you want to know more about this particular entity, you can click on the link. It opens as a new tab. If possible, we can do like a pop over to show just in a small window on the top. NERV will pre-select the first option on the priority authority for you, just to make it easier of your work. But let's say you disagree. So you can select the second or third option. And depending on your schema, maybe you can select more than one, right? Remember that you can navigate to the instances using the arrow. The instance will be highlighted on the text. Mihaela told us before that it's possible to merge entities together, but if NERV is grouping them together for you in the first place, it would be wise to allow users to split them. For instance, let's say this is a text about places named Ptarmigan, and each paragraph is a different place. Maybe it's a city in Alaska, a lake in Ontario, an island in the Arctic. They're not the same. So you navigate through the instances, and if you're like second, third instance, you want to split, this is a different Ptarmigan, you would hit click on split, and creates 2 different groups for you. So, okay, so you define this place is the Ptarmigan Islands, but you want to enhance more. It's not just linking. It's your annotation. So you click on edit it, and it brings up the dialog for you. You can add more metadata depending on the schema, reference, certainty, precision, and whatever else the schema allows you to add to this particular annotation. Click OK. And then, okay, I'm done. I either accept my changes or I reject. If I reject, the candidate is like removed from the list. It disappears. Don't worry, you can always run NERV again to get it back. But if you accept, the card collapses and you have a little star on next to it to show you change and vet this particular one. It will be, when you're done vetting the process, this will be saved to the document. Similar way of merging in the current version, you click on merge and you decide that John and Joan Paul, they're the same person. So you click on both and you merge them together. So all the instances of John and Joan Paul are together in the same group. So this is not done yet. Again, I mentioned that everything is blocked out until you've done the vetting process. When you're ready, you click done. So QuarkWriter will take all the changes that you made and plop into the document as an annotation and tag for you. The other ones that you haven't touched or reject will be discarded and they will disappear from your UI. And here and you can see that I already made a lot of annotations during my session. Attention, this is on the web, so we add the annotation to the document, but remember to save the document. Okay, so you go up here, you save, you navigate to your directory and save the document. All right, now I'm safe. So there you go. This is the new NERV panel in QuarkWriter. This is not all. We are also planning to have NERV as a standalone platform where you can discover and extract name entities from natural language and semi-structured documents, not only from XML, but also HTML, a web page, maybe a PDF as well. The interface will look the same, but as more like simplified version, since we won't need the whole package of image viewer, XML viewer, only focus on entity extractions. I hope this can contribute to the community and facilitate the researcher works. Feel free to ask any questions, make comments. Feedbacks are welcome. Thank you.